this slide, this slide shows an outline of what we're going to be talking about today in this session. First, we'll talk briefly about answers to the question, why get a degree from the College of Arts and Sciences at Gonzaga? Second, we'll give you an overview of what your options for study are. After that, we'll say something about other learning opportunities outside the classroom, and talk about our faculty and their important role as academic advisors. And we are going to be allowing you to ask questions, so you don't have to wait till the end. You can put your questions in the chat, or as Priya just said, just pipe up and ask your question. So our goal is to introduce you to some of the choices that are available to you in the college, so you can think about and ask us about what interests you. So even though we're talking about the college, it's really about you. So Matt's going to talk about the value of getting a college degree. A College of Arts and Sciences degree, excuse me.
Thanks. I'd like to start with some foundational information here. And, I'm not a big fan of long quotes and slides, but I am going to start here because this is really, really important as it grounds our work here in the college. And it has relevance for you, both in your personal and intellectual development, but also in developing as a person who can go on and contribute and be prepared in whatever career path you choose. So I'd like to highlight this because this is a quote by Father Culvenbach, Superior Society of Jesus, General in Society of Jesus, that really highlights the foundational nature of our educational approach, right? Meaningful lives of leadership and service. And I'm not going to read the entire quote here, but the point here is that foundational things that we see in the college across the liberal arts, the natural and social sciences, the performing arts, and of course, both students here today represent that, as they're so deeply involved in and have majored in and are studying across these disciplines. But this really empowers you, and it gives you the tools to develop as leaders and to develop your full potential as you develop here at Gonzaga and then move out into your lives. So I highlight the foundations for leadership and service part, learning and leadership, but I also want to highlight, and this is what students are always struggling with. I talked to several students this week who are trying to pick majors and then thinking ahead about their lives in terms of their career paths. So I want to highlight the ways that a degree is really powerful in very practical ways from the college. As you know, and as you've experienced as high school students, you live in a rapidly changing world. Change today is so rapid, and the world demands more of you, that I think that high school students, at least in my experience in the last 25 years or so, I think you're being asked to do more and do it earlier and do it better. You live in a very competitive world. And I'm here to tell you that employers, and the employers we talk to all the time, are really valuing what we're doing here at Gonzaga in terms of the outcomes of liberal arts education. You may think to yourself about a career path, but then you try to select a major. And I talk to students all the time who are trying to pick majors to fit a career path. What I'd like to do is kind of tweak your lens a little bit and get you to think about what employers are telling us about the kinds of skills and habits that they want graduates to have. So when you think about a list of skills and characteristics, hypothetically in the future, what kinds of things are employers saying they want in a college graduate? Set aside the major piece, right? Whether you're an econ major, a philosophy major, a biology major, what do you think employers want in a graduate? Well, here's some results of a big survey that is done annually by a large organization of thousands of employers. Here are the top skills and qualities that employers look for in a college graduate. This is the top 20 list. You can notice that in the top 10, the skills and characteristics they want most in a college graduate are things like communication, problem solving, the ability to work and problem solve in a team is a huge one. Leadership skills. They want individuals who are detail oriented. They like flexibility and adaptability, right? So that's part of being a lifelong learner. And as you read through this list of top 10 or get into the top 20, and you look at these job outlook surveys, and you can find these on the National Association of Colleges and Employers website, what stands out? I mean, the obvious thing for me is that this could be a lot of majors or combination of majors, right? This is a skill-based, not a major-based kind of result that we see from employers. And so as you think about making your selection and then attending your first year of university, think about the kind of skills and habits you're going to cultivate as a person, and maybe a little less about picking the perfect major, the perfect combination of majors and minors. When you do that, you find that you're going to set yourself on a path to being very well prepared. And as you develop skills and habits and sensibilities through core curriculum study, and then eventually your combination of majors and minors, such as they are, you're going to be really, really well prepared. Patricia, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I will just follow up with what you just said and dig into a little deeper what it would look like to declare a major in the College of Arts and Sciences in the 20 plus departments that we have. There's two components to it, two threads. One is you take courses in the university core curriculum, and then the second thread is declaring a major or double major or major and minor, which we'll also talk about in a minute. So I'm going to focus on the core curriculum first. The core curriculum is a set of courses that you take across your 4 years at Gonzaga, and it includes courses like this: courses in communication, critical thinking, philosophy, scientific inquiry, and so on. So you can probably see a correlation between these kind of classes and the list of skills that employers want that Matt was just describing. So as soon as you're, even in your first year, you're going to start getting those foundational skills in reading critically, thinking critically, written communication, oral communication, and the ability to analyze, do the analytical thinking through the math class and English literature and those sorts of things. So the core classes in your first year are really important. At GU, I want to mention too, we take a thematic approach to our core curriculum. So it's not just general distribution requirements where you take any old thing. There's a structure and a theme to it. And the theme of the core curriculum is, how do we educate students to become women and men for a more just and humane global community? So it's very much about who you become, not just about the courses that you take. And each professor who teaches core courses pays careful attention to what they're teaching and how it connects to these overarching Jesuit and Ignatian ideals. So this chart shows the structure of the university core. It's a little bit small, but you can get the general idea. Each colored band represents a year, and it indicates what the question is. So for year 2, the guiding question for all the core courses is, who are we and what does it mean to be human? So that's a question that's taken up in your core courses that year. Or year 4, as you're preparing to graduate, the question is more outward looking. What is our role in the world? So let me tell you a little bit about some of the courses and point out some features of this structure. Year 1, that top band, you take a first year seminar, a course in writing, one in reasoning, math, scientific inquiry, and communication. I'll say a little bit about the first year seminar because those are really interesting and there's some fun topics. These are courses that are in a seminar format, so they're small, they're kept at 20 students, so you get to really get to know each other and feel comfortable speaking up in class and get to know your professor. And they address topics in a way that illustrates different approaches and methods of various disciplines. So for instance, we have a first year seminar that's called the Art and Science of Dance, and it's taught by both a biology professor and a dance professor. And so they approach the art and science of dance by talking about topics like actually learning dance and learning choreography, but also talking about evolution, why we dance, the physiology of dance. So that illustrates the kind of course that the first year seminar is looking at. It's not like an intro course in biology. It's showing, here's how we approach a topic or a problem from multiple perspectives. Okay, in year 2 and 3, you're going to take courses in philosophy and religious studies. So in year 2, philosophy of human nature, and a course, there's a range of courses you choose from in the category called Christianity and Catholic Traditions. And in year 3, a course in ethics, and again, a range of courses you can choose from in world or comparative religion. And then in year 4, you're taking a core integration seminar, which is, again, a seminar format, and it focuses on a contemporary problem or issue in a way that encourages you to integrate all 4 years of the core. And it also focuses on helping you collaborate with other students and problem solving. Throughout the 4 years, in that last bottom band, there's a category called broadening courses. So you find time in your schedule to take courses in fine arts, history, literature, and social and behavioral science. So that's the university core thread. And then Matt's going to tell you more about the majors thread and what your options are there. Matt, you're muted.
Thank you. Everyone does want to ultimately find a specialization, and sometimes more than one. And what is captured here is the list of majors in the college. And as you can see, we've got everything in the college, right? So if you are in the natural sciences, right, if you want to be a biology or a biochemistry major, that's housed in the college. Alternatively, if you're interested in music or languages or theater and dance, that's also housed in the college. So as the college, we house so many of our majors and minors, and we also teach core curriculum, most of the core curriculum, to students from the school. So if you're in the School of Education, or you ultimately end up in the School of Business Administration, you'd be taking your core curriculum from faculty in the college. Those courses that Patricia outlined earlier, for example, in philosophy, in religious studies, your broadening courses, those sorts of things. So really picking a major seems like a daunting task unless you're one of those students who arrives on our doorstep and knows exactly what it is you want to study. And of course, there are those of you out there. But selecting a major doesn't have to happen right away. You do have a lot of options, but as we've outlined earlier in the presentation, your core or your foundational work is really helping you to kind of develop and explore in ways that I think will position you well to pick a major that you're well suited for and that you're going to carry through through your 4th year. All of the majors listed here include a capstone or a culminating experience, typically a 400 level class that I would say is a kind of an analog to your core integration seminar, in that you're going to be demonstrating that high level expertise in your major. That's usually in the form of a research project, a thesis, and is done usually in a capstone course. It does often include a comprehensive or field exam. So you really do get that depth of expertise in your majors, along with the broadening that you get both in core and your foundational major courses. I think a couple of things, and here's where I'm going to actually solicit our student ambassadors. Many of you don't know what you want to major in yet. You want to take time to discover what your strengths are, but I'd like to hear both from Rod and Dora kind of about your experience. Maybe we can pause here, and I'd like to hear about your experience both in the core and then how you've selected your paths. What does this look like in terms of your experience and your process? Can I put you on the spot? Can I just start with you, Rod?
Hey, thanks, Matt. I really do appreciate how, I guess, just flexible and plausible it is to kind of cope with both the core and the discerning what kind of specialty or major that you are choosing. A good example is that my freshman year, I came to Gonzaga declared doing journalism and broadcast, and find myself at the end of my freshman year switching from to econ and philosophy. and that's 2 majors, in addition to, you know, fulfilling things for my core. How I came to that decision is just a culmination of some things that I learned from other classes in my core curriculum. I did my philosophy 101 class, and that professor talked a lot about how you know, it's super important and valuable to learn how to, you know, construct arguments that are, you know, sound and logical. And with my personal aspiration of wanting to go to law school when I finished with undergrad, I wanted to really take advantage of continuing to build on that skill. And philosophy, or choosing to specialize in philosophy, constantly puts me to that test. And I'm very happy where I'm at right now. And I kind of think that core is something that I can really, I mean, I don't know if this is a cliche college thing, but I'll just do like really fun topics. Like my first year seminar was creativity, and it seems super arbitrary and bizarre, but believe it or not, we did a lot of creative things in that class. We learned about, you know, how our brains are activated and how our bodies react when we are in the state of, you know, wanting to be creative. And I thought that was first creative, but also very interesting. And they were in a way a sort of like a bit of a unique and productive break from, you know, doing my econ and philosophy classes. So I know it was a bit of a it was a bit, but I enjoyed all of it. And yeah, that's it. So your turn, Dora.
Sure, yeah. I came in as a music education major, and I still am. I did add a Spanish minor later. You do take, if you don't have credits or tests out of them, you do take 2 semesters of a foreign language at Gonzaga, which has been a very positive experience for me. I'm excited for my study abroad and the opportunities that it presents. Um, I have a pretty intense and credit heavy major, which is wonderful because I love the subject, but sometimes it's really fun. I'm in physics and movies right now for scientific inquiry, and I get to use the physics knowledge I learned in high school to figure out if a movie scene was plausible, and it's a really wonderful time. So I was also a student in high school who loved learning about many different things, and still getting to explore that is very fulfilling.
Thanks to both of you. I think that gives you a glimpse into a little bit about the opportunities that would await you in the college, both in terms of development early on, and then thinking about your aspirations as you select combinations of majors or minors that give you a little more depth in terms of specialty and expertise. Thank you both for commenting on that. And I know you may change. Sometimes students do that a little bit later in their career here, and that's fine too. Let's see, Priya, do we need to pause? Are there questions in the chat? And I'm not sure how many questions have accumulated, or do we need to pause and give anyone the opportunity to ask about core curriculum, majors, those sorts of things? It's maybe a natural area to pause, or time to pause here and air any of those questions.
Yeah, no questions actually have come up in the chat, but this is just a good time. You know, this session is for y'all. So if you have any questions at all, like definitely take advantage of this opportunity just to be able to learn more about the College of Arts and Sciences for sure.
All right, thank you. And you can, again, we can keep this sort of loose and informal if questions come up that are relevant to the topic we're on. I'm going to move on from major selection and specialization in the college, now that you kind of have a map of what that looks like, into another dimension of learning. These days, the best practices in higher education tell us a lot about how important learning is outside of the classroom. And so you typically think about selecting your courses and which courses you want to take, and scheduling and all of the kind of nuts and bolts that go along with each semester. But another really important component of life here at Gonzaga is learning outside the classroom. And that's featured here as experiential learning. That's a big, broad territory of things here. We've kind of distilled these down into service learning, internships, supervised research experiences, and then study abroad. And each one of those is distinctive, but they all kind of fall into that category of learning outside of the classroom. A number of departments across the college offer service learning courses, which combine your academic experience and your classroom work with practical experience, with civic engagement, so engaging organizations in the broader Spokane community. We often see those experiences embedded in the first year seminar that is offered you during your freshman year, but there are a number of other opportunities to do service learning. A number of students often ask us about internships and getting experience. That's another form of hands-on experience that we offer in the college. Every department in the college offers a 400 level. It's actually a common course number, a 497 academic component to an internship. So if you secure an internship outside of Gonzaga, whether it's, you know, a volunteer opportunity, a paid opportunity, and those kind of run across a huge range of organizations, but you can get academic credit for that. And once you're here, I would suggest exploring those opportunities more. Supervised research experiences are a really critical aspect of education here at Gonzaga. We offer those. Those are typically experiences working with a single faculty member and maybe just a small group of students, maybe just a handful, 2 of you or 3 of you in a lab. We have undergraduate students who regularly end up presenting research at conferences and even being published as undergraduates in their field. So that's an amazing opportunity. And then study abroad is another thing I would highlight. I think Dora and Rod, you're both thinking about going abroad or planning for that. You mentioned Spain. I think both of you are planning to go abroad. So we have many opportunities to go abroad. Many of us are familiar with, or maybe you've heard of our Florence program. That's kind of our flagship program, but you can go anywhere. There are dozens and dozens of opportunities for you, depending on what your goals are in going abroad, whether it's language immersion or going to a particular area of the world or a particular university. You can tailor your study abroad experience to achieve those goals. Patricia, what else am I missing on the research or experiential learning side? Do you want to add to that?
I think you've covered it. I just wanted to add that there's some other opportunities that are not particularly related, you know, housed in the college, but there's teams like Ethics Bowl and debate, mock trial, Model UN, there's music ensembles. So there's lots of things that you can do outside the classroom to pursue your interest. Rod, did I hear you say that you're involved with the musical?
Yes, I am.
Could you talk a little bit about that and how do you fit that in?
Okay, so doing the musical, it's a lot of work. But I'm really enthusiastic because it's just something that I'm very passionate about. I've had to adapt and work on my time management skills. So that does require, you know, a couple of sacrifices, meaning, you know, I won't get to watch a certain football game at a certain hour on the weekend, but I'm okay with that. I'll do my rehearsals Monday through Thursday from 6 to 10. Sometimes we will be let out early. And then I usually have to come home and depending on if I have a class the following day, I'll, you know, do some reading or I'll try to take advantage and go to sleep because that's important. It is very doable, especially once you find a routine where you are allowed to have a rest and you have a designated time to really be productive. And the campus really supports that type of, I guess I'll call it a mentality. I can go just about anywhere that's like a quiet space so that I can, you know, get a quick read before I go and do my rehearsal for the musical. So, yeah.
Okay, there's just one more topic that we wanted to touch on. And then once again, we're going to ask Dora and Rod to comment on this. And usually, actually, I'm going to skip ahead and talk about our faculty and their role as academic advisors. So as Matt mentioned, there's so many options for what to do, what to study in the College of Arts and Sciences, how to plan for study abroad, and so on. That it can seem overwhelming, but you do end up making good decisions. And part of that is working with a faculty advisor. So every faculty member in the College of Arts and Sciences is a faculty advisor to no more than 25 students. So sometimes if you're like me, you come from a big high school where all the students whose last names begin with A through M are assigned, like you could have hundreds of students assigned to one advisor. And here we cap that at 25. So you really get to know your advisor. Once you graduate, people often keep up with their advisors. Your advisor has seen you grow over 4 years and can write excellent letters of recommendation for you for graduate school or jobs. So that's one dimension of what the faculty advisor does. They're also there to help you with selecting courses, making sure you're on track for your major, for the university core, planning for study abroad, and that kind of thing. They are also good at helping you with career discernment and just figuring out things as you go along. Like, I'm seeing your grades and you chose this major, but your grades I'm seeing your performance in these areas is really strong. Have you considered a minor in X? So they're just good at helping you. They're a good sounding board. So I wondered if our student ambassadors would like to talk about their relationships with our faculty or faculty advisors.
Okay. Actually, Dora, do you want to start off first?
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Okay.
Okay, so my advisor for my major is Dr. Hamlin. I started working with him and was in contact with him within the first 2 weeks of school, which was so beneficial for me. I will say, when he initiated the contact, which was so helpful, and then I was able to keep up with that contact, being able to plan future courses, discuss what I wanted out of college, how I would fit in study abroad, discussing adding minors. It's a very helpful and beneficial relationship, and you really do get out of it what you put in.
I find the relationship with the academic advisors very advantageous. Yesterday, I met with my philosophy advisor, who's a really cool guy, and he was just very engaged, or he was very passionate about really supporting me and making sure that I'm able to really I'm able to create a schedule that works for me. I'm able to take classes that meet my interests and that also challenge me, so I'm meeting my personal goals. I thought that he displayed that by going as far as a trial inquiring if we could do a directed study about a certain logic construction topic that isn't really is not offered for the spring semester, but he'd be more than happy to sacrifice maybe one of his office hours to give me some credit with that and support my goal of wanting to be a really cool logician or something. So and they really look out for you, and they are in constant communication and bringing up a lot of potential career building opportunities. Another example is when I was a integrated media major. It was a great time. I had the chance to work on a crew, which I only thought adults do, but they felt that our class merited, and it was a great exposure. So yeah.
Thanks, Dora and Rod. So Priya, we have reached the end of our formal presentation, but we would love to hear more from the students who are present about what questions they might have about the areas that they're interested in. Do you offer this, or what kind of psychology programs do you have, or anything that you want to ask?
We didn't get any questions in the chat, but definitely feel free to unmute yourselves and, ask away.
Oh, I just saw Lauren asked a question in the chat. Can you take courses in your major in your first year? Absolutely. I honestly was kind of grateful last year to have core to balance out all the classes I had in my major, because I was taking a lot of music classes, a lot of education classes, and I was really grateful to have that balance.
Yeah, and that's a good question. Many students do come in as a declared major, and they right away, first semester, they want to be at least in a 100 level course, or maybe one of the gateway courses into their major. And so that's pretty common. But rest assured, you can also change your major and not have that cost you time. In most cases, many of those early courses in a major also are going to probably count in some area of core, or maybe you end up changing that to a minor. Rod, I don't know what your experience was as an integrated media major to start out with, but I'm guessing it didn't cost you time in terms of your overall 4 years. And in fact, you may have experiences and have done academic work in your previous major that you find helpful going forward, or counted as other requirements. So there is flexibility.
I have an answer to one of the questions in the chat. What kind of focus is there in the psychology major? Our faculty are generalists, but we do have faculty who are trained in some in clinical psychology and some in research or experimental psychology. So we can advise students who want to do either of those. And you do have choice in the core classes. There's like these categories, but there's a wide range of courses you can take within that. So like in Christianity and Catholic traditions, it's not like, it sounds like it might be Bible study or something, but it's much broader than that. You can do feminist Christianity, or something about Hebrew tradition. So there's a wide range of courses you can choose. Yeah.
There's a couple questions on double majoring and the difficulty. Rod, would you like to speak about that? Because I believe you are double majoring, right?
Absolutely. Thank you. I thank you for asking that question. So the decision to double major is conditional on the credit where I am in terms of my time here at Gonzaga, meaning in my first year, second year, third year, and the amount of credits that each major does, and knowing how academically rigorous the major and the classes maybe, we're all different. We all have different goals, and I'm someone who I'm willing to take on a few extra credits, whether or not they are difficult to meet an academic goal that I have. Specifically with econ and philosophy, I did not intend for this. It was a happy consequence, but they're both social sciences, and I wish I mentioned it earlier, but some of my courses overlapped with core. So it's important to consider, am I able to do all these credits? Do I think these classes will be hard? And do I believe I can fulfill my core curriculum and my classes all within, the expectation is the 4 years. I'm receiving some financial aid for 4 years, so I'm really trying to take advantage of all of the curriculum available without doing an extra semester that is outside of my scholarship. So it's just really important to find a balance. And but if you feel that both your majors are something that you're very interested and passionate about, and especially after speaking with your academic advisor that it is feasible, by all means, it's no different than single majoring. So yeah.
Hey, Priya, I saw a question in the chat about, is it possible to double major and study abroad and graduate in 4 years? So the short answer to that is yes.
For sure, that is
Yeah.
definitely the short answer, but it's going to depend on the majors that you choose. And I would say like how credit intensive they are, as well as like when you choose to study abroad. But the great thing about GU is that, you know, when making these decisions, you're not doing that alone. You know, like you have your academic advisor, and then you also have like a study abroad advisor working with you just to ensure that, you know, if graduating in 4 years is like your goal and your plan or whatnot, they're just going to work with you to make sure that that's feasible. And then I believe the Office of Academic Advising and Assistance can also help you with that as well. I don't know if I'm mistaken in saying that, but I remember when I was thinking about studying abroad, they were just like, you know, when I was switching my major from human phys to psychology and like, oh, you still want to graduate in 4 years and study abroad? I don't know if that would be possible. So there's just some different things that come into play. But like I said, you will have that support with making those decisions.
Yeah, Priya, you're exactly right. And I would say academic advising, but also the study abroad office is really, really good with the resources they have, working with your faculty advisor to help you kind of do that credit math. I'm working with a double major right now who is in political science and econ, so kind of close to you, Rod. But he's chosen to schedule his study abroad he thinks it's best for him to go second semester sophomore year, which is maybe a little earlier than people think of going abroad. Usually it's junior year, but he's mapped that out and he's got plenty of room, and he'll be on track to graduate in 4 years. And I think he may even have room to do a minor in all of that. But so yeah, the resources are here to help you plan that and to do it comfortably if you've got a little bit of advanced planning.
Just got a question in the chat that says, what type of student succeeds at Gonzaga? Dora, would you like to answer that?
Sure. I would say, like, personally, my success at Gonzaga comes a lot from my executive functioning, my willingness to become involved in my community. Time management, like Rod was talking about, is a huge thing. And you talk about it a little bit in high school, but in college, there's a lot more time, but you fill it up with other things and you have other commitments and things you're passionate about, and balancing that, balancing your newfound independence, learning how to become a young adult. It's all very important to learn how to manage your time, balance that. So just be willing to learn, make some mistakes, figure out what works best for you. That's my take on the subject. Rod, do you have a different opinion?
It's a lot. Like Dora, you just that was perfect. I'm speechless because you just took the words right out of my mouth. And I guess the only thing I would have to say is that you have to meet what Dora was describing, is that you need an element of discipline. I mean, that's just a life principle. But it's crazy because you're going from something that is so organized, such as high school. You know, you have your first, second, third periods, and then you have your clubs after school, and then you go home and do the homework, and you do it, you know, over and over. And now you come to just college, and you have to cook for yourself. You have to make sure you wake up on time. You have to make sure that you go to the right class at the right time. You know, it's ultimately up to the individual to for their success to measure. But Dora provided a lot of great principles that you could use and take advantage of to have a very successful college time. So yeah.
Hey Rod, I'm going to jump in and add one thing you mentioned earlier, the big S word, sleep. Make time to take care of yourself and stay healthy. I love that. You need to have time to sleep.
And if I could just add one more thing, I feel like something that is very important for any person is to, knowing when to ask for help. I think that's something that took me a long time to learn in college. And it's like, if I would have gone to office hours sooner and asked for help, I would have done better on the test. You know what I mean? Or even if it's like going to CCP, which is Center for Cure Personalis. If I was going through something mentally, like your mental well-being is just as important as, every other aspect of yourself, right? So just knowing when to ask for help and to reach out and utilize the resources that GU has, which we have so many, I think is also very important and will help you succeed at Gonzaga for sure.
Hey, Priya, that might capture everything. That just prompted me. We had a faculty member speak at an academic convocation a couple of years ago. Patricia, was it Peggy Sula-Raz in the School of Business that gave some advice to students? It was be the student that walks through the door. Be the student that walks through the door, right? Go early, go often. And I think, Priya, what you said there is absolutely right. There are so many resources for you on campus, but engage those resources. Be the student that walks through the door.
I see another question, and I don't really have a complete answer, but it's about oh, good, Dora, there you go. Yeah, you're better qualified to answer that. Would you say a little bit about what type of music we do is available?
Yeah. Oh, Rod, please feel free to join in at any time because we're in the concert choir together. We have great repertoire. It's wonderful. Lots of different languages, lots of different styles. We want to be the most well-rounded and like socially conscious musicians we can be. And I'd say that our programming reflects that. There's also lots of opportunities within the music program. Like I am involved in voice lessons, which is a big part, and you get lots of classical training through that and learning how to give solo performance in Italian or German, which is really fun. And if you're part of voice lessons, you're in a studio class, which is like once a week, and you sing in front of other people in the studio, and your voice teacher helps you, and you're with your friends, and it's a wonderful experience. Rod, did I forget anything? Can you add anything to that?
Oh, you killed it. You're like, are you a music major by chance or something?
What? No way, crazy.
All right, y'all. Well, it is time. Thank you guys so much for joining us again, just to learn about the College of Arts and Sciences. Thank you to Matt, Patricia, Rod, and Dora for being so wonderful and answering these questions and just being very informative, everything like that. So now it's time for the break. What is it like? It's from now to 12:20. And so like Sandra said, go use the bathroom, grab a bite to eat, something to drink, anything like that. And then join us back at 12:20 for the student panel. So thanks again, y'all. And I think you go to the main room now.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Hope we see you next year.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Do we just head back to the main session as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that just leave room, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right.
You got it.
We never know. Sometimes people just move us around.
That is true.
Right. I just show up in a room. I didn't do anything.
It
Thanks,
was
Priya.
wonderful y'all.
Yeah, it's great to meet you.
Great job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Y'all did amazing as well. I learned so much.
We'll see you over in College Hall at some
Oh,
point.
100%. Definitely will.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Be
Bye,
well.
y'all.